professor of agronomy at the center, and for the past year served as interim center director. He told us it's been a great experience over the past year.
Definitely been a great experience over the past year, and I look forward to serving this role for, well, at least a little while.
Of course, you get named center director, but at the same time, we're going through trying times right now with COVID-19 and all of that. So, and I know it's had to have some effect on the center and how you all work there. So how has it affected your all's daily routine?
Yeah, so I think it's upended everybody's daily routine, hasn't it? Let's see, over the last month, I would say we went down to a skeleton crew. Everybody that could work from home worked from home. And a lot of people are still doing that today. I have the farm crew back, and I've been coming in almost every day, and as well as our receptionist. So pretty much, skeleton crew, and we're taking care of our animals, our pastures, and just keeping the place running.
You can hear more sellers' comments on our website, southeastagnet.com.
Bite back at flies this season with ready-to-use Cleanup 2 Pour-On Insecticide with IGR. Cleanup 2 Pour-On Insecticide controls house flies, stable flies, horse flies, black flies, horn flies, and deer flies on cattle with just one application and zero withdrawal. And it's the first cattle insecticide pour-on product to include an insect growth regulator. Bite back with Cleanup 2 Pour-On Insecticide. See product label for complete product information, indications, and application instructions.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Hey folks, time for this week's super specials at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. If you've been wanting a bottle brush, now is the time. Bob Wine's is the place. Take your pick from the smaller dwarf size bottle brush, the tall size, and those popular slim bottle brush with prices starting at a super low $15.99. And speaking of trees, you've got to see Bob's huge selection of citrus trees. Just about every one has special spring discount pricing, and many are bearing fruit right now. Prices start as low as $59.99, and you get a free bag of fertilizer too. And look, there's a BOGO on blueberries. Buy one, get one free. Of course, crepe myrtles, they're here, and Bob has them in a long list of colors, starting as low as $24.99. And when you choose one in dark red, white, or pink, you buy one and you get one at half price. Check them out now, BobWinesCameliaGardens.net, then come to Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Daily till 4:30 in the same blooming place since 1952.
WOCA.
Turning out to be partly sunny for today with a high 87 to 89. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 to 70. Partial sunshine for Thursday, a shower or thunderstorm around, high 78 to 85. Thursday night, clear to partly cloudy, low 56 to 60. Then Friday, a full day of sunshine, high 80 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Kevin Snyder.
WOCA.
Good morning, everybody. Listening to AM Ocala Live, WOCA, The Source, now 6 minutes after the top of the 8 o'clock hour. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source. We are streaming live, YouTube Live, WOCA, The Source Radio. As now it's time for our partners with Life South Community Blood Center. We've got Galen on the phone. Good morning, Galen.
Hey, what's going on, Adam? Good morning. How are you?
Doing pretty good, brother. I know you're driving there, so hopefully not too many Canadians on the road for you today, huh? Maybe get
let's hope not.
Get there with less range.
Again, it's almost May. They should all be gone.
Well, hey, nonetheless, we've got a little bit to talk about today. Now, I figured we start like we do, talking a little bit about the expectations of the politics that's involved with COVID-19, and we'll round out with some good sports news. But first of all, our governor, Ron DeSantis, met with, and like we said yesterday, really how much weight that held, but nonetheless, met with the President of the United States yesterday, and now is saying that with today, phase one is a go, although it's a baby step considering, and with the stay-at-home order ending on Thursday, it's looking like now we're following phases and guidelines to get ourselves back to normal. What do you think?
Yeah, I still really want to understand what that means.
I don't either. I was
I don't know how
trying to read about it.
fully open the economy without being able to have child care in place. Right? I mean, it's just
Right.
such a massive piece of the puzzle that they just haven't really talked about. I talked to some people yesterday who have small kids, and all they're doing is just whoever's at home kind of gets them, and a lot of single moms out there who are just dropping off kids with grandparents and siblings and things like that. And I don't think that's a healthy situation for anybody, because they're all having to still go to school during all this. So it's not like daycare's open or summer camps are open or anything. I mean, we're not even in May yet. So I'm curious as to how that happened.
Now, the other thing is we were talking a little bit yesterday with what was said from Tyson, the chicken producer. The other thing is starting to see some of the other consequences to actions, not just with the idea of the food chain, but we're seeing it with some other things. Is this really? In other words, should we really look at just how quickly can we get back to normal, just to avoid the gap, if you will, and what's going on not only with food, but there's something else there that I had pulled up, but I missed it. That is starting to be a consequence to the actions, and if we don't see ourselves more back to normal, how much more is that going to hurt us when you think about, like, for example, just the food chain and the idea of production of meat and other stuff?
Yeah, they're saying there's going to be a huge gap in the need for protein here over the next. I heard as long as 6 months.
Dang.
It may take 6 months to recover from the gap. So that's devastating, because what that means is what meat will be out there will be at a much higher price, and economically everybody is already pinched. I know a lot of people in our area are on a fixed income, but there's also a lot of people who work hourly, and hourly jobs have been affected the most out of all this.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to have a real problem. I know food banks are short of food, and there's some real issues, and it's one of the reasons I'm glad that Marion County did the food delivery. I know that helped a lot of people.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
And it was a huge stopgap for a lot of people, and that's the part that when I look at this closure, those are the things that impact me, right? And when I look at it, and those affect me. If a 80-year-old person dies of COVID, it's not tragic. If a 5-year-old kid goes hungry because his parent lost their job and they don't have any money for food because there isn't any food, that to me is a tragedy. So and that's where we're at. That's where we're at because of this. And not only is it a huge loss of our liberty and our rights, but the economic and emotional impact this is going to have is going to be far-reaching. And we say it every single day. And I think people are just starting to get restless and saying, this is ridiculous. We've got to move on from this. So, and then you have the other side that, the president said it again yesterday, one death is too many. No, it is not. No, it is not. I mean, there is risk in everything we do. If one death was too many, we would never get in a car. You would never even enter our house, right? You would never do anything. You would literally stand around in a bubble.
Now,
it's full of risk.
When you say the car, what always comes back to me as being a pilot, a lot of people say, an airplane, because a lot of people are apprehensive not only of smaller airplanes, but of, airline jet travel and the anxiety that comes with it. But it was always being said that the likelihood and the percentage of you dying in a plane-related incident or accident or emergency, whatever, is far way less than if you were to get in a car and drive down I-75. That's for sure. And it is ironic because in that concept, you nailed it with the first part of it. It's like, well, then don't get in your car, because percentage-wise, with the cars on the road and the expectations of that, it's the most dangerous. And it percentage would probably be more likely of a risk than right now of COVID-19, and that is a heavier part. But that's the political part of it, is trying to say what he thinks people want to hear, and say that there's a concept that I guess somebody's on your side. I do want to touch base real quick, just when you mentioned the delivery of the meals. I think that's something, like you said, within Marion County was. I want to be a little bit boastful about that, because that was pretty good. It said here, as we get the updates from Marion County Public Schools, this was just a few days ago, as they had their 6th week of the serving, and on that morning it was 5,268 students received 10,536 breakfast and lunch meals. And since March 24th, they had delivered and handed out 236,000 meals, and that's huge, because, like you said, that was an important piece of what was something that's not mentioned a whole lot or in the forefront of everybody's mind, is just when kids aren't going to school, sometimes the repercussions of something, like you said, just as simple as getting a meal. And at least with that, there was some action taken. Now, what does that mean later on, though? Like when we're talking about this gap that Tyson's bringing up with the food, with the meats, as soon as you said it, 6 months to recover. What does that become then for the price of beef after 6 months? What's a bag of nuggets going to go for now from Tyson 6 months from now? And those are the consequences to what is coming from COVID-19. You made great points, buddy. I don't know. Yeah. Now, with that being said, like I tried reading some of the articles a little bit deeper with what DeSantis was getting after, but it is kind of just it's kind of a fluff. Every article that I've seen from the USA Today.
He has no plan.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. There's no plan.
There really isn't, or else it would be clarified.
Taking it slowly.
Yeah.
Right? That's all he said, is taking it out slowly. The only thing that's really been announced is elective surgeries.
Yeah.
Will start May 11th.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask you too, because originally it was talked
11
about.
days too late.
Yeah.
11 days too late. Elective surgeries account for about 75% of all hospitals' revenue. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, there are hospital floors in our county that are completely empty. And all of those people have been furloughed or not working or reduced hours, and the impact that's having is far-reaching. Again, we went $2 trillion in debt for a virus. And again, I'm sure all these, and I guess you have to believe Dr. Fauci. According to Dr. Fauci, we shouldn't go back to work and open it up until 2021, right? But he's also said, don't listen to me. I'm not an economist.
Yeah. That's true.
So, at some point, an adult in the room has to step up and say, you know what, this is enough is enough. And I know the president tried in mid-April and got absolutely crushed by it when he said the cure can't be worse than the virus, right? He's never said it again because everybody in their mind in this fragile, the fragile society that we have built, is one death is too many. And every time I hear that, to me, it's like the word infrastructure. I hate that word. It's nothing but a boondoggle. People die every single day from stupidity. They die every day from living a long life. They die tragically from lightning, right? Heat exhaustion. There's lots of ways to die from strokes. But if you don't go out and live your life, then you'll still have a chance of dying. Death is a part of this life. There is no, and no one avoids death. So.
Right. Now, just to give a shout
They
out to
all come to the same end.
on that note, to give a shout out to our sponsors. Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. We'd like to thank Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. They're located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street, where they offer the skilled nursing, physical, and occupational speech therapy. Any questions on how they're working through phases with the governor's so-called expectations, end quote, you can give them a call. Any questions, please call them, 352-854-6262. That's 854-6262. And, of course, Penn Flooring. They're a full-service flooring company dedicated to finding the best solution for your flooring needs, experience in both commercial and residential fields. With a lot of the influx of what people are doing at home, like we said with the big box stores for home improvement, a lot of people trying to do certain things. If you've been looking at the floors for 3 weeks and you think it's time for a change, give Penn Flooring a call at 352-351-3420, located at 1201 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala, 351-3420. That's Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. Now, on the same air of topic with what we're doing to get out of this little by little, on the side of sports, Major League Baseball had a few conversations, basically, some requested anonymity, but there is still consideration for a season for 2020, and they've actually brought through some scenarios here, Galen, which are kind of interesting. With what we were talking about a little bit before the hour was breaking it down into, the East, West, and Central, kind of doing away with the leagues, or combining them, if you will, to where you pretty much put about 100-game season together, and then you minimize the travel and you just keep everything geographic with the teams playing in so-called restructured divisions. How do you feel about something they're doing to adapt to try to get something of a 2020 season?
I don't know what travel. I read that. I'm like, travel. Well, what are you talking about?
I wondered that too. Because at the same time, you're still gonna.
That's silly. They all have their own damn planes.
Yeah.
Right. The Boston Red Sox aren't flying coach. They're not flying Delta. They have their own plane. I don't know. Again, this is what happens when you're trying to appease this group of fragile people who think that you flying around is somehow going to impact their lives very directly. And again, if I hear one more person say, well, if you go out and you do this, you don't care about my grandmother. I don't even know your grandmother. I'm sure she's a lovely person. But I have to take care of myself and my family at some point. I'm not going out to do her direct harm. I said, your grandma can stay at home.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the same thing. Now, I think it would be really interesting to see how many people would actually go to the ballparks.
Yeah.
Because they have one where, no more than, I think it's 4 people can sit together, and they're talking about having separation within the ballpark.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how that works.
And how long that lasts.
We're in August. Yeah, if we're in August and we're still doing this, it won't matter. Right? I mean, the economy will already be in such turmoil. We won't be able to recover. We'll be in a depression. And then everybody who loves big government wins, because the government will be, that's when they'll be talking about a New Deal, and they'll be talking about how they're just going to buy their way out of it. We'll go deeper than the $2 trillion we already submitted.
Yeah.
So it just makes no sense, man. This makes no sense. Either you're open or you're closed.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the world travel has to do with it. I really don't. I don't know. That makes sense.
Yeah, I get you with that. And, it's... Is this also to
By the way, speaking of sporting events,
yeah,
NASCAR, the Coca-Cola 600 is going to happen, and I think that's a genius move. And they're not doing anything different. They're going to have it in Charlotte. They're going to have fans, and so Memorial Day they will race the Coca-Cola 600, and it'll be the most viewed sporting event maybe in the history of the world, because people are going to watch it. And then because everybody who hates NASCAR, which there's an entire section that thinks that the South is dumb and we're all backwards and, inbred and all of these things. And it's going to feed right into that. They're going to watch it. And then everybody else who just wants to watch something live is going to watch it. It'll be, you thought the draft was big.
Right.
You see the numbers to the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too. Like now that comes up, that's May 24th, and it'll be interesting just to see where we're at by May 24th too, with where we're at with COVID and so on and so forth.
People are already stir crazy. If we're doing this for another month, then there'll be massive rioting in the streets.
Now, a caller brought up earlier too about the Indianapolis 500, and from what I understand, that wasn't was that completely canceled, or did they still postpone that with the expectation to run that?
I haven't heard a word. Usually about now they're having carb days and pole days happen in May.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite races. I love the Indy 500. And to me, it's one of the best days of the year for sports, because you get to watch the F1 Monte Carlo race early in the morning. Then you watch the Indy 500, and then you watch the Coca-Cola 600. So F1 has already decided they're not going to run until July. Well, because they're European and they're softer than the rest of the world. Maybe even Canadians are past this now, right? So they're even softer than Canadians. So, at least the Swedes got it right. They didn't even close. Maybe I need to move to Sweden where they're a little tougher.
Now, let me ask you something, partner. Do you feel that, let's say baseball gets this organized to do this, and like we said, the three divisions, East, West, and Central, and doing it how they are. What does that do? Watching a baseball game with nobody in the stands, if that's how they're going to play it for the first few games or whatever, and do we see, like, if they do start allowing, like we said, for to folks to start going to the ballpark, those who could probably afford it, whatever by then, do you see that with whatever restrictions they do, that people would just say, out of hell with it, I'm going to sit where I want, and then by, like you said, August, then it doesn't even really
Well, you won't be
matter.
able to sit where you want. At that point, you've entered into a stadium that is owned by somebody, and they have the right to sit you wherever you want. You don't have a right to a seat. Who will have a distinct advantage is the Rays. And they're used to playing in front of empty stadiums with none of their own fans.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a real distinct advantage. Anybody who played for the Rays, possibly the Marlins over the last few years.
Yeah.
I think it'll hurt teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers and the Cubs, who actually have fans.
Yeah.
But like the Baltimore Orioles, nobody wants to see them play anyway. Cincinnati Reds, nobody's going there anyway.
Nope.
I think that'd probably be the safest place on the planet.
Nope.
Somewhere in Ohio, watching a sporting event in August. So,
now
nobody in the AFC North wants to watch those teams.
Let me ask you this: if baseball does make its progress through the summertime, do you think the NFL uses that as a little bit of a resource to say, okay, we're kind of getting a gauge of where America feels and where their heart is with sports at the moment? Or does the NFL say, the hell with it, we're running our season, we don't care, we know millions of people are going to watch, they're starving for it, we're good?
I really believe what'll happen is, OTAs will still happen. They're already voluntary for the most part. Then they'll have their training camp, which is, that's a sequestered event anyway. What I think they're going to do is I think they may play their spring training games, or their preseason games, I should say.
Right.
In front of no fans.
Yeah.
And that'll buy them another month, and then they go full bore in the first game of the season. And the world, everybody will Trump will come out and probably have a victory lap of one of them and say we defeated this virus.
Yeah.
Passed it.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, people are still going to die from the virus. I'm not saying otherwise. The virus is killing people. That's still going to happen. But people die every day.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us that are still here have to deal with it. And in some ways, the best way to deal with this is by living. Right?
All right.
When my dad died, if I stopped living, I think that would probably piss him off. Right? I mean that. I miss him every day. But if I would say, "Oh, Dad, you're dead. I'm going to die."
Right.
You're like, well, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
These are Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Got a family to support.
Right.
So, yeah, silly. It's silly.
And then to what I got to say, I've been missing a little bit of baseball. It's usually this time of year that I kind of get excited for it. What was it, partner? 2 months ago
I was talking to my friend, and I was like, it's probably best. I mean, the Red Sox are already they're a terrible team. No Chris Sale, no Mookie Betts. They're complete disarray. They're trying to cut payroll. Maybe this is the best thing to happen. Maybe they did this for my own, personal mental health. They just decided, let's put this pain off. And if we only play 100 games, I mean, we can only be, odds are 10 to 15 games out of first place by the end of the season. So that's probably good. Yeah,
because even if, like you said, if you come in winning 70 games, which is a horrible 162-game season, but hey, that's 70%. That's not bad.
Year.
That's a great year. Well, partner, as we come to the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, we appreciate it. And as you're on the road there, get safe where you're going. We look forward to talking to you tomorrow. And maybe we'll have more clarity on exactly what these phases and everything else what it means. We'll see.
We'll see if DeSantis gets reelected today. Today decides whether or not he gets reelected.
Interesting.
I know he doesn't have another election for 3 years, but how he handles today decides whether or not he's our governor in 3 years.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we appreciate it, brother. You take a good one. We'll see you.
Man.
Yep, we can talk to you in the morning.
Good.
You got it. WOCA. We'll be back after this. WOCA. Okay.
I'm Chris Foster. There are now more than 1 million coronavirus cases reported in the United States.